All right, so today we're gonna watch a clip of Matt Walsh that isn't new. It's over a year old, about a year and a half old, and we're gonna watch it.
Okay, so now we're going to look at another woke children's book. This one,
Let
on
me
the
fix this.
surface, I mean, literally reading the book by its cover, it seems maybe not as bad as some of the others that we've looked at, that we've reviewed. But you never know. So we just got to we're going to read this whole thing. It's pretty short, and I'll read the whole thing, and then I'll offer my review. So let's get into it. This is called C is for Consent. And this is, it says ages, this is for ages 0 and plus. So if you have a 0-year-old child, they could read this and up from there. I mean, it's a board book. It's short.
Does it actually say that? I mean, I'm not gonna like say it doesn't, but like he didn't even show it to me. So how do I know he's telling the truth? He didn't. I can't see it.
And this is, it says ages, this is for ages 0 and plus. So if you have a 0-year-old child, they could read this and up from there. I mean, it's a board book. It's short. So this is really for kids, probably, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. All right. It says, it's time for a party with family and friends. And you see, of course, there we've got the interracial gay couple. We've got the interracial disabled couple. Well, one member of the couple's disabled. You got to get all the representation there. And
What? What?
board book, it's short. So this is really for kids, probably. It says,
What
it's
the
time
fuck?
for a party with family and friends. And you see, of course, there we've got the interracial gay couple. We've got the interracial disabled couple. Well, one member of the couple's disabled. You got to get all the representation there.
What? Okay, number one, he said he was gonna read all of it and then give his review, so already broke his promise on that. You fucking liar. And also, why does it matter? Why is he pointing this stuff out? It's why? Why does it matter? Why does it matter if there's a gay couple or a interracial couple? Why does that matter to you? That's such a weird thing to point out. That's just a weird thing to say. Oh, look at the interracial couple. Does he do that in public? When he sees like an interracial couple, does he point at him and say, "Look, an interracial couple"? What a fuck? What? What a fucking weirdo.
And I don't see any furries. I don't see anyone who's apparently transsexual or even transgender.
There's something wrong with this guy. I don't know what is wrong with him, but I don't know what he's on, but um
Or pansexual. So that's a problem. But we'll keep going. Grandma wants a hug, but Finn isn't in the mood. That's okay, says Dad. You don't have to give hugs if you don't want to. Grandpa leans down to kiss Finn. Mom says, please ask for consent first. Grandpa asks, may I kiss you on the cheek? Finn replies, yes, you may. Auntie and Uncle want Finn to sit with.
this isn't like a super unnormal thing. I mean, like for this to be asked from like a grandpa to like someone, it's not, especially if like they're not familiar with their grandparents, they don't have like a close relationship with them or something. This isn't a like a weird thing to do or act out in real life. So I don't see the I don't
Down to kiss Finn.
this isn't
Mom says,
this isn't not this isn't unnormal.
please ask for consent first. Grandpa
Okay, they probably don't talk like that, but I mean, this still isn't like an unnormal
asks,
thing.
may I kiss you on the cheek? Finn replies, yes, you may. Auntie and Uncle want Finn to sit with them. Come sit on my lap. No, you have to sit on my lap. Finn says, no, thank you. My parents say I don't have to sit on anyone's lap if I don't feel like it. What a brat this kid is.
I thought he was gonna wait to give his review. God damn, Matt, you can't even keep your word for more than literally not even a couple seconds.
Mom's friends give Finn a present. Does that mean he has to hug or kiss that person? Only if he wants to. Maybe Finn could high five or fist bump instead, or maybe he doesn't want to be touched at all. It's his choice what happens to his body. Finn is happy to see his best friend Rue.
This is kind of like shit that they like tell you in like kindergarten and preschool though. They kind of teach you this in school. in a certain way. It's not. I guess this could be a book you might find in some schools for young children. Yeah, but there's nothing. Um, he's calling it woke in the title. I don't um see any wokeness. This is pretty basic shit, Matt.
He asks, "May I hold your hand? It is okay for you to say no." Rue replies, "Yes, you may hold my hand. Thank you for asking first."
They're children. That's a normal thing to teach your child. I know he has a child. Hopefully, he teaches his child to ask another child before he or she tries to go up and hold another child's hand. Because that's what I would teach my children if I had them. That's called manners, which apparently Matt doesn't know what those are.
And that's it. That's the end of the whole story. Okay.
Oh, that was short.
Then there are discussion questions at the end, which we won't get into. Well, so that actually is somewhat surprisingly, this is the worst one yet, I think. This somehow manages to be more disturbing than books that are pushing transgenderism and bisexuality and all that kind of stuff. Those books are bad too, but don't get me wrong, but this one disturbs me on a deeper level. So let's count the ways. To begin with,
it's almost okay. We're just gonna listen to the ways
before we
first.
get to the major problems here. This kid is awful. I mean, this is what happens when you have permissive hippie parents. I would not.
This kid who has manners is awful. Clearly, Matt would think that.
I can't imagine if I was a little kid, if I was like 6 years old, and my grandmother came to visit and said, "Hey, give me a hug," and I said, "Nah, I don't feel like it, Granny." I cannot imagine what my dad's reaction would have been. It would not have been pleasant, I can tell you. My reaction with my own kids wouldn't be pleasant.
That's not how. You know what? I guess I was wrong. I was wrong, and that's not even what the book said. That's not what happened. He's literally misrepresenting what he just showed us.
In that situation, yes,
he was so much nicer about it in the book. He's just making the kid. Well, I mean, he did. He thinks he's a brat, but it's not. Even this is a children's book, and the fact that he's getting so worked up about it is extremely weird to me.
Tell them. I guess let me tell you something. I violate my kids' consent all the time in the sense that I force them to do things they don't want to do. Study. That's much of the day, in fact, is involves them doing things that it's not their idea to do those things. They don't really want to do those things. Clean their room. Let's start with that.
That's not what the book was talking about. He literally can't make a case for why what's actually in the book is any of it is bad or woke or whatever stupid fucking adjective he wants to use to try and describe it in a negative way, because none of it makes sense. And then he's talking about making his kids clean their rooms, and that goes against their consent. No kid wants to fucking clean their room. Most parents have to make their kids clean the room. This is not, nothing he's saying ties in to what he presented in the first part of the video.
Consent for that? What is that? Forced labor? Is that slavery?
He's not this isn't connecting at all in any way, shape, or form.
My kids know that when a family member comes over to visit, you go and give them a hug. It's not an option. It's not a choice. You are required to do that.
Well, don't look at me like I'm frickin' Frankenstein. Give your father a hug.
Because that's polite. But the major problem here is that the book explicitly sexualizes physical contact between family members.
All right. I didn't think he was going to say that. I don't know how he could make that connection. I know that Matt Walsh, and a lot of these Daily Wire people like Candace Owens, they like to say things purely for shock factor, whether they really think them or not, which, they probably do think a lot of the stuff that they say. That's just a ridiculous claim, and it's, like I said, if he is thinking that, it's Matt that has the issues, because there was nothing sexual in that book at all. If Matt thought there was something sexual in that book, then, you know, I guess Matt needs to, we have to have a serious conversation about Matt and his agenda.
I mean, this author who is it? Eleanor Morrison. He, his, her, whoever's, they're taking their own, I don't want to misgender them. Whoever it is, they're taking their own complex and projecting it onto everyone else. I don't know what's going on with you, that you view a hug from an aunt or a grandfather as potentially sexual in nature.
That's what I don't understand how he makes that connection with what was actually in the book. There's no way for a person that has I don't like using this word all the time, but I'm going to use it, a normal mind, to say that anything in that book had anything to do with anything sexual at all, period. And the fact that he's calling the author out, he's literally projecting. This is just so it's fucking weird.
But it's something you should be talking to a therapist about. You don't write it into a children's book, for God's sake.
Oh.
And this is what you get from the left, right? They grew up on a diet of Freud, whether they know it or not, and now they see everything in sexual terms. Everything is sexual. They're incapable of conceptualizing any human interaction that might occur outside of a sexual framework. Everything for them is sexual or potentially sexual, and they're weirdos, in other words, to summarize.
Losers, in other words.
Again, that's the case that Matt Walsh is presenting for what he says the left is trying to do, when in reality it's literally him doing that.
Losers, in other words.
I mean, let's take the family dynamic out of it for a second, just for a moment, because I don't want to dwell on that. It's too disturbing. And
That's the whole point of the book. That was like one of the main points of the book in some of the pages.
That we're talking about just some dude and a girl, and they're not related. Even in that context, the idea that verbal consent should precede every physical interaction is asinine. I mean, my wife would look at me like a maniac if we were walking somewhere down the sidewalk or something, and I said, "Excuse me,
may I have consent to hold your hand? Requesting permission to initiate physical interaction."
Permission granted. You may maintain physical contact for 75 seconds.
Thank you, ma'am.
See, again, the book was literally, it's made for children. Matt's not a fucking child. There weren't any grown couples in the book walking down the street doing that. It's again, he cannot make a kid. He literally hasn't said anything about how the book is sexual in any way, and everything that he has said in his review is just him making up random examples in his head that don't have anything to do with what was actually in the book, and then him saying, "Well, that's dumb." Well, yeah, because you just made up some stupid shit and then said it was stupid. What are you
That's what they
doing?
want. Now we know why leftists are so angry all the time. They're lonely. Nobody wants to be around them because they act like some bizarre mix. It's the weirdest mix of hedonistic sex fiend and robot.
You wouldn't know perversion if it put clamps on your testicles.
Leftist men in particular are just lonely. There's no way any woman wants to be around this kind of thing if they carry on like this. All of this hyper consent stuff,
I got, oh, what the fuck? Oh my god, there's so much wrong with what he just said. I can't even go into everything because there's so much wrong with what he just said. But apparently Matt is consent's just not something that matters to Matt. So
makes sense among machines, but for organic creatures, we need organic interactions. We need things to develop naturally. But this all
I'm sure Matt Walsh knows what the vast majority of women like/want, because he, I mean, I can't, say it explicitly because, I could potentially get in trouble for it. But, maybe Matt is planning to transition into a woman. And, he's, this is, his way of trying to deal with his gender identity issues with, which is, like I said, a lot of these a lot of these conservative pundits struggle with.
Well, again, this is I'm talking now about two adults who aren't related. So I'm doing the book a favor by framing the conversation this way. What the book is actually talking about, again, are little kids and their grandparents. They want robotic consent requests, even in that context.
Excuse me, young one. May I have consent to kiss you on the forehead and squeeze your cheeks and remark on how big you've gotten since I last saw you 2 months ago?
Permission denied. Get lost, you old fart.
That is literally the future the left wants.
Again, I guess Matt Walsh wasn't raised in a household where he was taught anything called manners or being courteous or in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, everybody raises their kids differently, and I guess Matt's going to raise his child like that too because of what he said earlier in the video about how it would be different if his child did that, some stupid shit. I just wanted to make a quick video on this because I saw some people talking about it on social media and I had never actually seen the video and I wanted to watch it for the first time and react to it.